Well, it's great to be here at the Bindula Rural Fire and Rescue Service with Bill Byrne, our candidate here for the seat of Rockhampton, and of course Paul Houlihan, the member for the seat of Keppel, which in fact we're standing in today. We all saw a magnificent effort on the front line of Australia's worst ever natural disasters across Queensland last year. That effort saw our emergency services stretched to their absolute limit, and we saw them responding in a way that made, I think, every Queenslander proud. But we also saw that, as you would expect when you test any system to its absolute limits, that there are areas that we can respond to better. That's why I'm very pleased to be announcing today a $35 million boost to our frontline natural disaster responders over the next 4 years. Sorry, it's over the next 4 years. That $35 million boost will see a $12 million allocation to 4 new major disaster storage warehouses, one of which will be here in the Rockhampton region. Another one in the Sunshine Coast, one in Toowoomba and one in Cairns. This will complement the 2 existing warehouses, one in Townsville and one in Ormeau. These warehouses are a very important part of our emergency response. They store all of the equipment that only gets used when we do have a significant disaster, whether it's chainsaws, tarpaulins, sandbags, all of that equipment that you need to have on hand ready to go when disaster strikes. This will increase and improve our capability right across the state, and those locations coincide with emergency management headquarters for those regions. We will now work with councils in each of those areas to locate suitable land, and we will allocate the $12 million to build those warehouses, and they'll be there whenever we might need to call on them. A further $6 million will go in additional funding to the SES for equipment, everything from sandbags through to electrical equipment that they need when the going gets tough. The Rural Fire Service will see additional funds. I think we all know that our volunteer programs like the Rural Fire Service do a terrific job, and they do a much better job when we can make sure they're well equipped. So we'll have a new $4 million grant program so that rural fire services can apply for new and replacement equipment. There'll also be an increase in the fuel allowance for rural fire services of $2.8 million and a further $1.5 million that will go to first aid training and first aid equipment. We also have another group of volunteers, our volunteer marine services and maritime rescue. These are very important parts of our front line, and we'll be doubling the funding that goes to those organisations. Our volunteer maritime services are much, much smaller than our rural fire or SES, but another $1 million a year will see their funding increased by, we'll be doubling it. So a $35 million boost to our disaster front line, supporting our local heroes. These services, the SES, the Rural Fire Service, our Maritime Rescue Services, are all staffed by volunteers. They do an absolutely magnificent job, and anyone who's been helped by them know just how terrific they are. But we need to make sure they're well equipped, that appliances like the ones we see here can be replaced when they need to be replaced. This is $35 million on top of the existing funding programs that go to these services. I hope we never see disasters of the scale that we saw last year again here in Queensland. But we do know in a tropical state that we will see disasters from time to time, and we need to make sure we are ready and that we can protect people as best as reasonably and humanly possible. So I'm very pleased to make those funds available today.